We do church not because of service or for people. We do church because we love people. So when we say we want to see who you're created to be, because you matter. You matter as a church community of God because that's literally everything we live. We live because we matter. You matter to God. And you matter to us. And so I started a series called The Best Life. And I picked this series to kind of land on our birthday for one reason. One of the components of it was so important to me. I feel like so many people are just struggling through life. I feel like so many people just survive in this life. I don't feel like people thrive. I think people just crawl. When they should run through life and they should be thriving. And many people could look at me today and say, I don't feel like I have the best life. But I know that's the life God wants for you. But I added a little tagline on it. I added a tagline that says, it's anything but normal. Because the best life is not what culture says it is. The best life is what God says it is. And it's abnormal, and it's not normal. And so as we're going through the series, I want us to look at it through the lens of what God says our life should look like. Through the lens of what God, not the lens of culture. And it's so easy to fall into the trap of looking based on life, based on culture. And so we have a key verse. I want to read it. You're in Matthew. You have your Bible, turn with me, Matthew 7. You don't have your Bible. It's your first time, guess what? You have notes in the middle of the worship guide. So don't feel stressed out. I won't smack with my King James, all other black Bibles. We also have another screen here too. Turn with me to it. You can enter God's kingdom only through the narrow gate. The word only is a very important word there. The highway to hell is broad and its gate is wide for the many who choose that way. But the gateway to life is very narrow, and the road is difficult, and only a few will ever find it. Culture tells you this is what a successful life looks like. Culture says this is what you do if you want to be happy. And it's a large highway, and a lot of people are traveling on the road. But the Word of God says this is what you got to do to thrive in life. This is the road you have to take, and it's a narrow gate. And I didn't put something out there. It says only if you choose it. Jesus is not saying it's only for you. It's for everybody. Anybody that wants to accept it can accept it. Anybody that wants to choose it can choose it. Only if you are willing to be a little irrational. There's only a few people who are willing to be a little abnormal. Because it's human nature. Human nature drifts towards the majority. Human nature drifts towards what the masses are doing. And we have to buck human nature and go against what humanity tells us and what God tells us. Why? Because you're going to end up somewhere in life. Everybody ends up somewhere. But few people end up somewhere on purpose. And I want us to end up somewhere on purpose. You're going to make whatever choices you want to make in life. You're going to end up somewhere in life. Time doesn't just stand still. But shouldn't we make choices that are going to make us in somewhere that God designed for us, and that God desires for us, and that God created you with the best life? It's not the easiest life. You just said, hey, the road narrow path is difficult, but it's the best life. It's anything but normal. And so what we've been doing is we've been talking about how to have the best life. You can't know where you're going. You got to know how to get to where you're going. It's pointless to know the end result if you don't have the directions to get where you're going. And so we've been breaking down the last 7 weeks the turn-by-turn directions to get where we're going and how to thrive in life. And this week, I want to talk about community, a life-giving community. You can't have the best life unless you're surrounded by like-minded people. And you can't have the best life unless you are connected. And I felt like the best way to start this thing off is let the people of this church actually speak for me, not speak for them. And so we've got a video on the show right now talking about how life-giving communities impact their lives.
and I was kind of like looking for something. We just kind of felt like we needed to change. And so I messaged Amber and I was like, okay, so where are you guys going to church? To this new church Bloom, you guys should try it out. And so I said, well, I'll talk to John about it. I don't know if he'll go.
Well, it's a little tough because I had only ever gone to one church, ever had one experience, so.
It was from the first time we walked in the doors. It was, hey, how are you? It's instead of just walking in the doors and being like, oh, there's someone else walking in, hey, you know.
Really satisfied with how people seemed to care about us when we came in the door. And then every single Sunday, the message feels like it's just speaking right to me. I feel like God's speaking to us through Mike every week, and it's just such a comforting feeling. And then now that we've gotten plugged into the small groups, just like Mike always says, life changes do happen in a circle, and it's been great for us. I really look forward to it each and every time. It recharges us. It's just great.
We went to Bloom, and even just the first time that I went, I was like, okay, this is a cool church. And just like everyone is saying, like you feel so welcome. Like you don't really feel like it's your first time there when you walk into Bloom, because people are just so friendly, and it does seem very genuine. And especially with me, I was very judgy with lots of the churches, and I was like, they're so just being fake right now. Like, why did they even want me here, you know? And so, but at Bloom, I didn't ever feel like it wasn't genuine. And so I told Jordan, I was like, well, whether or not you come or not, I'm still coming. But we have been coming ever since, actually, and it's been the best thing that's happened to me since I moved to Branson, because I didn't really know a lot of people. And this is exactly the way that I wanted to know people was, I wanted to be surrounded by good people who were gonna just uplift each other. And when you pick up and leave your family and you don't know anybody, like, that's the best kind of people to know, you know, and to have a family that's my church family now, like, I don't have to feel sad that my actual family's not here. I'm gonna cry.
I know.
Because people have turned into my family here, and so I don't feel like I'm as homesick because I have people who I consider family. And it's been great because I've been able to use the gifts that God has given me and helping out on the worship team with Ernie. And just getting to know everyone at Bloom has just been a great experience. I'm sorry.
No.
And getting involved in life groups has also been just great. I mean, we did one last session, and I'm excited to just continue on with this one. At first, like, honestly, I felt like moving to Branson was a really big mistake. Because when you move in the suburbs of Chicago from some place that you've lived for your entire life, and then you move to Branson, you're like, what did I just do? It's really great, and it's definitely been the best choice of my life. Like, it went from pretty much being like that choice in my life where I felt like God moved me here to begin with, but then I was wondering why he did, because I was performing and doing what I wanted to do, but I wasn't being filled. And that's what I was striving for in my life, was I wanted to be filled and do something that I loved and be filled at the same time, because anybody can live life and not be filled, and I just wanted to be filled.
I think I got to a place before Sarah did where I felt like I was ready to come here to move our family, and I really didn't know how to tell Sarah because her family is in Idaho, and I didn't want to pull her away. But I got an email from my sister, Pastor Amanda, and she really shared her heart. She really just was very vulnerable and very honest and upfront, and that's kind of sealed the deal for me. And I showed it to Sarah one morning, and I think that started the transition, or at least really confirmed what she was feeling about moving to Missouri. And
I think what really did it for me was their excitement. I had become so overwhelmed with being involved in the church that I lost the passion. It was draining me. I didn't feel passionate. I didn't feel excited. But everything that they said, not trying to change my mind or sway me in any way, I felt a connection with. I thought, yes, that's how I feel. I've always felt that relationships are the difference. Do we do this? I mean, it seemed like the most inopportune time ever. Made me start the ball rolling is feeling that excitement again. I wanted to be excited about getting up in the morning and doing life with people, and life was the key word, because I felt drained of life. I just felt dry, and so that was it. And it was confirmation after confirmation, and it was a hard thing to do because my whole family's there, and our church there was our family. So it took big faith. When we got here, it was in November, and it was the dark time of the year, and we were in our house, just staring each other in the face when we had spent about 99% of our time being involved in church work and never having a relationship. And so when we were over here, not having very many, I mean, everybody had their own life, so it was just he and I staring each other in the face, and it was not working. It was so not working that the kids and I were going to move back to Idaho. It was bad, and the Lord had to absolutely take us down to the foundation and completely rebuild our marriage. And I feel like I know that would not have happened had we not come all the way over here. And it happened first, and it happened fast, because from that point on, everything else was built.
She was like, hey, you want to go to church? I'm like, yeah, sure. We went to another church in town, and it was a good church, but it just really didn't feel connected, and really haven't found anything. And really, since we've been together, that was just like, wow, we have to be a part of this. And I've never had that church where I've been like, you know, I have to go. You know, it was always, my mom was like, you gotta go. You know, and I said, well, Dad's going fishing, you know. Yeah, we went to church, and I don't know if that was part of the not going to church idea or whatever. But growing up, I didn't really enjoy it. It was wasn't a lot of fun. And then we met and went to a couple of churches in Arkansas, and just, I mean, they were okay, but nothing really like wow. So it was almost like a myth of how these people are involved with church and how they like, this is where they have to be. I'm like, whatever, you know, because I've never felt that. And then we came, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool, because the kids both love it. You know, wow, they seem really cool, and the music was good. I was like, wow, you know, they really play, and it was like, this is pretty cool. And we start going, and then just kind of took off from there. And
I didn't go because I didn't ever feel like it was, I always felt like people were really fake, and I didn't want to be a part of something where people couldn't be themselves, because we're not perfect. And I was raised in church, my dad's a pastor. It's always like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like, you know, I just want to, you know, I don't want to be told that all the time. I want somebody to tell me, you know, the bigger picture. And so we tried a couple of churches when we came into town, and just never felt connected, you know, like everybody else has said. And so I told Tatum that yes, we would go, because she really, really wanted to go. And so we did, and we left. And Josh, I mean, to get the response that I got from Josh, like, sealed the deal for me, because he was
absolutely.
Like, when do we get to go next? And he, you know, even when we went to the other places, and like when it was time to get up to go to church, he was like, oh, I want to go, Mom, we have to go. You know, and so having that response from my children, it was like, oh, that's it. We're, you know, going there. And just like John said, it seems like every sermon is like, wow, okay, knock me upside the head, slap me with the book kind of thing. So, I mean, for me personally, I've always craved this kind of thing, because for me, I need it to be able to keep going. Being a part of Bloom has been, honestly, the best thing that has happened since I've been in Branson, and so I'm very excited about the fact that we're a part of this.
And I would say the same.
So I was curious about this new church that Amber was going to, and a couple other friends, and we had been going to the same church for the past 4 or 5 years almost. I mean, we weren't consistent, but we went to the same place. And like everybody else was saying, I never felt connected. And part of it was that we we didn't want to be. We wanted to just go so that we could go, and that was it. I kind of felt like, and I kind of felt like Chris, I had a hard time getting Chris to go to church, and the kids don't want to go to church, so it's just me. I'm like, come on everybody, please,
I
we
never
gotta get
liked
up.
church. And I'm real.
And it was really tough, and it was really discouraging. I grew up in church, and so it was really really hard to even bring it up to Chris. There's this new church that some people are going to, and maybe we should try it out. And he objected, and I mean,
Branson?
it was all the way to Branson. And then things just started happening, and I felt like we were supposed to go. So we went, and we had a really good time. I mean, we were really impressed. And Chris was. When Chris said, yeah, we could totally do that, I was like, oh my goodness, this could be it. This could be it. I mean, we've been married for almost 9 years, and this could be it.
But I remember just almost like the stars were just aligning perfectly. Like when she was talking about
I
church
was talking
with
to
Amber
Amber
at
about
some
it, and
little thing at your house, and I met Michael, and then there was a time where I think last year where I was wanting some instant gratification in my life. I was having some issues sleeping. I'm a real guy. I'm just gonna say straight up. I share everything, and I'm not ashamed to do it. So, going through a tough time, and so I thought, easy way out. I can't sleep. I'm gonna start taking something to help me sleep. And I didn't. I thought what I was taking was nothing major. And 2 or 3 months go down. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna quit taking it, and well, I started not feeling good, and I probably got to my lowest low, and
which brought me to my
yeah,
low.
it's kind of got that effect.
Yeah.
And I remember meeting Michael, and I think going to church like a week or two before this incident happened. Everything was great then, and then all of a sudden, when we just met one time, me and Michael did, and I really liked the church, and here I am, just all of a sudden, a week or two later, I'm at my lowest low I could possibly feel in my life, and I just called him, and I'm like, or I texted him. I didn't even know him. I'm like, can you call me? And dude, he called me like that, and we talked and talked and talked, and I was like, man, everything's just lined up perfectly. I love this dude. I had a great time at church, which is just not like me.
We've been committed to a 12-week relationship study through some spiritual mentors of ours. And
It started the first Sunday.
it started the launch Sunday, Bloom's launch service Sunday. So we knew we had to at least go through that. We were part of that, and don't get me wrong, it was great for our relationship, it was great for us, but in the back of our mind the entire time was,
How many weeks has it been?
we're doing a countdown. We're doing a countdown, and like week 10 of that 12-week study, fantastic week. Everything went great class. Sophia got baptized by
His mentor.
by my spiritual mentor, one of my best friends. Just the perfect Sunday. And me and Amber, after church, we were driving home. I remember saying, "Man, wasn't that a great service? That was so awesome. I just feel so great." You know, it was fantastic. 'Cause that was the first. Sophie was our first that had gotten baptized at that time, and we talked about how great it was. And then there was about a 3-minute pause. We both looked at each other like, "You ready to go to Bloom yet?" So this just perfect Sunday, but it wasn't where we were meant to be, and we knew that. So shortly after that, we kind of
skipped on the last week of her.
we're out of here. It's all right. We gave you 10 weeks.
They're getting together and so
I've never been part of a church where I felt like I was part of that church 7 days a week. I would always attend somewhere on Sundays. I would just go there. I go to such. I'm a bloomer. You know, all the time, 7 days a week. I mean, my church family isn't just a church family. It's for real. I mean, straight up church family.
not because you're going to go to some seminar. It's because you do life with people 7 days a week. Your church family becomes your family. I got some quick thoughts real quick about community. I'm going to go through it quick, so don't worry. I know you smell the risk. It's been going on. But I want to go through this really quickly, but I want you to understand the importance of community. Look at Romans 12:5. It says, we are all one body in Christ. We belong to each other. Belong to me. That sounds cultish. I take that back. And each of us need all the others. Look at your neighbor and say, I need you. Look at the other neighbor and say, I need you almost as much as the other person. We need each other. Listen to me. I'm a pastor, and I need you just as much as you need me. This isn't a self-serving dictatorship. I need you. We need each other. I can't do life by myself, and neither can you. We need each other. And life-giving communities is God's answer to the best life. A life-giving community is God's answer to get you to places God desires for you to go. And I've got real quickly a couple of thoughts on why that is. Number one, write this down. A life-giving community is God's answer to loneliness. A life-giving community is God's answer to loneliness. You know, we live in the most connected world today. You got thousands of friends on Facebook. You got people on Twitter. We have a day and age where we can connect with people on a heartbeat. Yet people feel the most alone right now than any other time in culture. 90% of people say they have no one to go to when they feel like their life is in a crisis. 90% says they have no friends. Maybe your spouse, and that's about it. Some people don't even have that. The number one reason why people go to church is not to experience God. The number one reason why people go to church is to meet a friend. Because people are alone. Yeah, you got access to people online, but you don't need Facebook friends. You need face-to-face friends. You don't need a Facebook request, friend request. You need to get real life friend requests. People are alone. The majority of people say they continue to go to a church they don't like because their best friend goes there. Because they're alone. Nobody wants to do life alone. And God's listening to you. You're alone right now. God's answer to that is life-giving community. It's that. Such as Genesis, it's not good for man to be alone. God doesn't intend you to go through life alone. God intends you to have people to do life with, people to laugh with, to spend life with 7 days a week, not 1 day a week. It's life-giving. Number two, a life-giving community is God's answer to fatigue. It's God's answer to fatigue. Life is hard. Life is hard. Sickness happens. Financial problems happen. We get stressed out at work. Life is hard. And then to top it off, we're children of God. So God put this great purpose and this great destiny in our life. And that wears you out. So you've got this life issues, and then you've got this purpose to go through. And it doesn't make sense sometimes. Ever since back in your life, go, this just doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why my life is spinning out of control. I feel like life is so out of me. I'm exhausted. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm tired of just crawling through life. God's answer to that is community. Life will never make sense unless you realize you can't do it alone. Your life will always feel like it's never going to make sense unless you realize you need people. Community tells you to get yours. Community says, do it yourself. You step on as many people you can to raise the corporate ladder. And you get success because you do it. Man makes his own destiny. But God says you do it because you've got people with you. And they energize you. And they strengthen you. Listen to what Ecclesiastes says. It says, two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. Two are better than one. It's not the other way around. You feel exhausted, you feel life draining out of you. I promise you right now, no amount of vacation you take will ever bring that to life. Will never make you feel like you're not exhausted. You know what will? When you do life with people and you do it with purpose. Man, you ever sat with somebody and you started dreaming with them, and you started talking about futures, dreams, and destiny. It's like it excites you. It's like you're all hopped up on Red Bull, and you feel like you conquer the world. And when you roll up your sleeves, you get a little dirty, and you start creating something, and something that matters. It energizes you. Life in the community is God's answer to fatigue. You feel worn out with life, you need to start dreaming with people. You need to start doing stuff with people that matters and making a difference. It's God's answer to fatigue. Listen to what Galatians says. So let's not allow ourselves to get fatigued doing good. At the right time, we will harvest a good crop if we don't give up or quit. Therefore, every time we get the chance, underline that and you'll know every time we get the chance. That doesn't say when you feel like it. It doesn't say once a week. It doesn't say when it fits your schedule. Every time you get the chance, let us work for the benefit of all, starting with the people closest to us in the community of faith. Don't get tired. Why are you not getting tired? Because every chance you get, you're working with people to something that matters. And old Xavier Proverbs says this: one person can run fast, two people can run far. I want to run far in life. I want to get somewhere that matters. I don't want to just get somewhere real fast. Listen to me. Explosive growth is not what I care about this church. Consistent growth is what I care about this church. I don't care if you go to 1,000 next year. I want to make sure 10 years from now we're growing. I want to make sure 20 years from now Bloom Church is going to make an impact in this world. And I got to do that because I got people with me. And I don't get worn out. I don't get fatigued, but I can run far because people are with me. You feel tired in life, you feel like you got no purpose in life. You need to start working with people. You need to be connected. You need to have that. Number 3. A life-giving community is God's answer to defeat. Defeat. We all need people who will defend us and protect us. Life is hard, guys. Life is hard. And we get beat up sometimes. And you need people protecting you and fighting you. Listen to what Philippians says. Don't look out only for your own interest, but take in the interest of others. We need people watching out for us and covering us. I know most people like to talk about this because it's kind of a sticky situation or subject, but we have an enemy in this world. And he's the devil. And the Bible says that he roams around ready to kill, steal, and destroy. Listen to me. He doesn't wear red spandex and a cape and have a fork and jump out the bush and go, hello, I'm the devil. That's not the way it works. The Bible says he's sneaking around on your own. It means he hits you when you least expect it. He comes in and hits you in the backside. When you least expect it. When you got this emotional blow to you and you feel weak and vulnerable, that's when the devil comes in and he's going to kick you in the teeth, and the doubts are going to start rising in your mind. And the negativity. You have a health problem rises, somebody in your life passes away, or maybe somebody that you care about are struggling, or maybe you lose your job, or financial problem, and you're emotionally exposed. That's when the devil starts speaking those negative things in your mind. And Ecclesiastes says that a man that fights alone will be defeated, but 2 that fight together back to back can conquer. And 3 is even better. Why? Because you got somebody's got your back. How can the devil come in when you're emotionally at your lowest point and those thoughts start to creep in? How can you fight it off unless you got somebody in your corner? But let me interject something real quickly. When somebody goes to battle, they sound the alarm. They call for their people to battle with them. They rise up and they rally the troops. They don't sit there subconsciously like, let me telepathically put out some thoughts so all my friends know that I'm struggling. That's what we do in life. You gotta raise the alarm. You gotta call people and say, I need to know who's got my back. I've got to fight with somebody. Because when you're at your lowest moment and the doubts start to creep in, who's going to speak truth to you? Who's going to tell you, Matt, you're not what you think you are. You're what God says you are. Who's going to fight you when you're struggling? You've got to have somebody's got your back. Community is God's answer to defeat. Listen to what Ecclesiastes says. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But if someone falls alone, it's in real trouble. Are you falling alone? Or do you have somebody you can call that's going to reach and help you out? Number 4, a life-giving community is God's answer to despair. Despair. Bad things happen to good people. Sometimes bad things happen to really good people. And it's not God that does it, but we live in a corrupted world that's tainted by sin. And some things just happen to you. I wish it didn't. This is the one thing I wish as a pastor I could shield you from. I wish I could take all that away. I wish I could take every ounce of your pain away, every ounce of your problem. I wish I could suck it dry. I can't do that for you. But what I can do is I can champion a community that will rally around you in your worst moments. I can champion a community that's going to stand up whenever you are struggling. And I can champion a community that's going to be there for you. Listen to me right now. It says this in 1 Peter. Finally, all of you should be of one mind, sympathize with each other. Love each other as brothers and sisters. Be tender-hearted and keep a humble attitude. Do you hear that? Never once does it say, I told you so, interjects in there. Never once does it say, well, you shouldn't have been doing that. Never once does it say, hey, let me fix all your problems. It says, I'm going to be tender-hearted. It goes in 1 Corinthians, it says, if one part suffers, all the parts suffer with it. And if one part is honored, all the parts are glad. You know why that says that? Because that's modeling exactly after Jesus. The Bible says Jesus experienced every temptation, every struggle we've experienced on this earth. He feels the pain that you feel. He understands the hurts that you feel. And you need people that feel that with you. We need people who will cry with us. We need people who will cry with us. I know. You need somebody that's in the lowest moment to come up and say, I care about you. I love you. You matter much. You don't have to go through life alone. We need friends who know who we are and know what we're going to us. Not strangers, but friends. Lastly, a life-giving community is God's answer to sickness. Are they trying to get the drum rolls? A life-giving community is God's answer to significance. Dwight Eisenhower said this, it's better to have one person working with you than 3 people working for you. Listen to me right now. God's giving me big dreams. God's giving me huge dreams. But He hasn't given me dreams I have to do by myself. He's giving me dreams because I need people with me. I can't do it on my own. I can't make an impact or a difference by myself. I don't want to just reach a big church or a big building. I want to see lives change, see people never change. I want to see people that say, you know what, I've been praying for years, that's a relationship with Jesus. I want to know people that are walking God instead of like a relationship with Jesus. And I want to take many people with me that heaven possible. I want to see heaven filled with Boone Church. I want Boone Church to touch this community, to impact this county, impact the state, impact the country. I want to see Boone Church change the world. And I know it can, because I know that we can make a difference and have some significance. Because we're a community that's going to rally together and stand with each other and be a part of something that matters. Listen to me. I'm not a pastor or a megastar. I'm a man that rallies with people. I got people standing next to me, fighting with me, doing life with me. I can do this church on my own. Maybe I have some bad music, might do this church on my own. But I got people with me. Community makes us significance. It makes us have purpose. And we can't do anything on it. Listen to what Jesus says in John. It says, remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it's severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. Yes, I am the vine. You are the branches. Those who remain in me, and I in them, will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. We can't do anything by ourselves. We can't do anything alone. But with God, we can do everything. With each other, we can do everything. Deuteronomy says 1 man will chase 1,000, but 2 put 10,000 to flight. I like God's math. God's math is 1 plus 1 equals 2. 1 plus 1 equals need people that I'm willing to make a significant difference in this world. I need people to say, you know what, Mike? I don't want to live like me. I want to live like people. Because I promise you this, when you live on your deathbed one day, you're not going to sit and say, I wish I had more money. I wish I had a bigger car, a bigger house, a nice car. You're going to say, I wish I impacted more people for God. I wish I left this world a better place than I did. I wish people felt love and hope and peace and joy. I wish I spilled my salvation onto other people in this world. And we can do it together. I need people to partner with me. That's what Road Trip's all about. We got a 3 o'clock session today in the church. You know what Road Trip's about? It's saying, what? I believe in the vision of this church. I want to be part of it. I want to serve it. I want to fight for it. I want to make a significant change in this community and in this world. I remember in 5th grade, and it was this word. I walked in the first day of world history, and my teacher had this big chalkboard to the entire room. He started at 1 and he took his chalk, and he took it, and he started drawing like, boom, stop. He says, this line represents the length of time, the span of time, and then he took his chalk and he wrote a circle right in the middle. And he goes, this circle, we go, wait, that circle's too big. Right, he says, this circle, no, it's too big. He says, this speck that looks like a mistake, that represents your life on the span of time. And I walked out and I felt, man, I'm insignificant. I can't do anything. On the span of time, nobody will even know I existed. I'm like a fog, a fleeting air. And that's the way I walked for years. And one day I remember in prayer, I brought that up to me and said, yeah, by yourself, you're a speck. But when you impact another life, that's a dot right next to yours. And then they start impacting your life, and that's a dot next to yours. And then they start impacting, and 1 plus 1 equals 10,000. And then all of a sudden, there's going to be these massive dots on the timeline, and it's going to command an attention, and people's going to see it. Why? Not because of one man, but a community that impacts and makes a significant change. We can make a significant change in this world because we come together. We have a purpose, and we serve. You're going to stand before God. He's going to ask you 2 questions. The first question is going to say, what did you do with the knowledge of my Son? Did you set free of his salvation? Did you accept Jesus in your heart? Unfortunately, many people won't answer that question right. But if you do answer right, he's going to come up and he's going to say the second question. And he's going to say, what did you do with the talents I gave you? That's not going to determine whether you get into heaven, but it's going to determine what your heaven looks like. Because God says every sacrifice you make on this world will be rewarded in heaven. What did you do with the opportunities I gave you in this life? Did you make a significant difference? Together, we can make a significant difference. Bow your heads.